Alright, so we have section 3.4 equations, but this time we're going to talk about multiplying and dividing. Alright, so we're still going to be using multiplication and division property of inequalities. So to undo multiplication, we're going to use the inverse division. To undo division, we're going to do inverse multiplication. Alright, so on my first problem, it says solve x over 3 divided by negative 6. Now before I start anything, I'm just going to rewrite the problem just to give myself a little bit more room. So we are still going to draw our line, right, just so we kind of have our left and right side. Once again, we always start at looking at what side the variable is on. The variable is on the left side, right? And when I see this fraction bar over 3, that means division. So the inverse or opposite of division means multiplication. So to get rid of dividing by 3, I'm going to multiply by 3. So I'm just going to go like that. Whatever I do to one side, I'm going to do to the other. My 3's cancel, and I bring down my variable. Now here's where you have to remember our integer rules. I am multiplying. Negative times a positive. Those are different signs, so it is a negative. 6 times 3 gets you 18. My answer is negative 18. Once again, if I wanted to go back and check this, I could put negative 18 in for x. Negative 18 divided by 3 gives me negative 6. Negative 6 equals negative 6. You know you're correct. Okay. Let's look at another one down below. C over 8 equals negative 7. So once again, I'm going to draw my line. My variable is on the left side and is being divided by 8. So the opposite of dividing by 8 is multiplying by 8. Whatever I do to one side, I do to the other. 8's over here cancel, bring down your variable. Negative 7 times 8, it's negative 56, not 54. Sorry about that. So C equals negative 56. Let's go to this top right problem. So it says solve 18 equals 4y. Alright, so one thing that we have to notice, when I have a number next to a variable, it means multiplication. So the opposite or inverse of multiplication is division. So whatever number is next to the variable, that's what I need to get rid of. So I need to get rid of this multiplying negative 4. The way to do that is division. I'm going to use a division bar, and I'm going to write negative 4 here. You've got to make sure you write a negative 4, not just a 4. Whatever I do to one side, I do to the other. So my 4's on the right cancel. I bring down my variable. I have 18 divided by negative 4. Now this isn't a number I know off the top of my head, so let's go to the side. 4 on the outside, 18 on the inside. 4 goes into 18 4 times. And I get a 2. Remember, I have to add a decimal, a 0, and a decimal. Bring that 0 down. 4 goes into 25 times. So my answer is 4.5, but I have a positive divided by a negative. That gives me a negative. So my answer is negative 4.5. Alright, down below, I have negative a equals negative 24. Now, remember, we know that I don't have a number in front of here, but to make this a lot easier on you, if I were you, I would just rewrite it and put negative 1a equals negative 24. That just makes it visually a little bit easier to kind of see what's happening. So a number next to a variable means multiplication. Remember, I undo multiplication by dividing. So the opposite of multiplying by negative 1 is dividing by negative 1. Whatever you do to one side, you do to the other. My 1's cancel. I bring down my variable. 24 divided by 1 is 24. And two negatives, the same sign, make a positive. Let's go flip to the back. So last type of problem we're going to be seeing are things that look like this. So you have negative 4/5 x equals negative 8. All right, now, when we have this, we have a number next to a variable, which means multiplication. But my number next to the variable is a fraction. So to divide a fraction, remember I'm going to keep flip change. So I could do a long process of this, but the easiest way to think about it is you are going to multiply by its reciprocal. Remember, a reciprocal is when you basically flip the fraction over. So for example, the reciprocal of 3/4 is 4/3. So the reciprocal of negative 4/5 is negative 5/4. And that's what I'm going to multiply by. Whatever I do to one side, I do to the other. All this is going to cancel. And I bring down my variable. So I have negative 8, let's put it over 1, times negative 5/4. Two negatives make a positive. 8 times 5 is 40. 1 times 4 is 4. 40 over 4 is the same as 10. So x equals 10. So on the next one, I have 2/3 as my fraction next to my variable. So that means I'm going to multiply by the reciprocal. Whatever I do to one side, I do to the other. All this is going to cancel. The only thing left is going to be my variable. Now I don't really have a lot of room here, so I'm going to go off to this other side. Do 3/2 times negative 14 over 1. And I can cross cancel here. 2 goes into 14 7 times. 2 goes into 2 one time. 3 times 7 is 21. 1 times 1 is 1. A positive times a negative is a negative. Negative 21 over 1 is the same as negative 21. So negative 21 equals x, or x equals negative 21. Alright, so you got 6 problems down below. I forgot to do this, so please do this for me. Go ahead and number your problems here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Make sure you are showing all your work. Questions 5 and 6 here should look similar to this. Questions 1, 2, 3, and 4 should look similar to your problems on the front. Make sure you try out all the problems and write down any questions that you have.